There we go. Are we back? Hey, there we go. Okay. Um, Hold on one second. Let me make sure we're good. Okay. Um, where did I lose you guys? We were talking about Tormach. So yeah. I mean, any other proof that you need for Tormach being a viable machine is just look at John's story. You know, he basically built his business on a Tormach. So there you go. That the proof is in the pudding. People can complain and hate on Tormach all they want because it's a little machine, or it only has a two horsepower spindle, or this or that, or it's made, it's an import machine, or whatever you want to say. The proof's in the pudding. They make parts, and you got support, and you know what you're buying. So yeah, so did John Grimsmo, and John Grimsmo holds some insane tolerance, and he was making some pretty nuts parts with his Tormachs. Now again, he grew out of the Tormach, right? But it started him and got him going um, the whole time. So, are we out again? Oh, is it back? Sorry, guys. I can't control my internet connection, unfortunately. I'll put a service ticket in. See if I can improve the quality. Okay. Um, yeah. Uh, so Blaser Swiss Lube. The only downside of Blaser Swiss Lube is that they have a very tight distributor network, and the distributor can only sell to you in their area. So you'll have to contact Blaser and then figure out who your distributor is, and then you'll have to purchase from them. I personally buy my Blaser from Butler Brothers out of Syracuse, so I can call them, one day, say, hey, I need a 5-gallon pail, and then they'll ship it to me, and I'll have it the next day. So which Blaser Swiss lube did you get, Greg? Yeah, Brian, we're living in a little bit different age. 10, 15 years ago, everybody was very, very tight with their IP, their intellectual property, and now a lot of people are willing to share, so it's pretty cool. Oh, okay. So the only reason why I went with 2000 Universal is just because I cut such a wide range of stuff. You know, I do a lot of aluminum, and the Universal works great for aluminum, but I also do, carbon steels, and, last week I was doing titanium, I'll do stainless, then I'll do brass. So I do just a wide plethora of materials, and the Universal so far it has not stained any material I've machined, and it has worked extremely well from a lubricity standpoint. So I do a ton of rigid tapping, and I did rigid tapping in titanium, and I didn't have to use any additional tapping fluids, and I got what I would consider pretty decent tap life. So I've been very, very happy with Blaser Swiss Lube. And then, I don't use my machine every day. Typically I only run the machine once a week on the weekends, and sometimes I don't run it for 2 or sometimes 3 weeks. So it sits there, idle without being used at all, and it lasted well over a year. And even after a year, it really didn't go rancid. I just changed it because I thought I should change it. AVE is a wanted man. I've heard good things about SimCool. I mean, there's tons and tons of coolants out there. You know, the coolant companies all these coolant companies are staying in business, so they can't be bad, right? If they were bad, they would go out of business. Yeah, and the nice thing about Blaser, so the other person that I really enjoyed talking to at John's Open House was Jared. And if you talk to Jared enough, you kind of see how important Jared is to Saunders Machine Works. And Jared was saying, they do maintenance on their QualiChem and their sumps and everything for their Haas. And that's the really nice thing about Blaser Swiss Lube. I don't do anything to it. All I do is every couple of weeks I look at my little oil skimmer and I just skim out the little bit of junk that's in there, and that's it. I don't touch it. I just add a little bit of top-off water as the water evaporates. That's it. No additives, no chemical, no maintenance. I check the pH every once in a while just to make sure that the pH doesn't crash on me, and I'm done. So, yes, very correct, Kenny. Yeah, and I can't dedicate because whatever somebody calls and, wants a part machine, whatever the material is, that's what's going in the machine. So, Hangsterfers is also very, very good. I would say that between Blaser and Hangsterfers, those are probably, in my opinion, the top two. Yeah, this old Tony, he's great. So I sent Tony a private message on YouTube and said, hey Tony, I'd like to use your artwork that you made for this video. Can I get your permission to use it? Because, you know, out of respect to any creator, if you're going to use their stuff, you should at least contact them and say, hey, can I use your stuff? And he replied back and said, yeah, as long as it's in good taste, go ahead and use it. I think that's a great idea, and he'll get a chuckle out of it. Uh, no, Hangsterfers is not cheap, but neither is Blaser Swiss Lube. I think I'm paying. I think the last time I bought it was a 160 for a 5-gallon bucket. Yeah. Both John Saunders and Grimsmo use QualiChem, and actually, I know a couple of local shops in areas that use QualiChem. It's not bad, but anecdotally, I've noticed that one of the shops near me switched to QualiChem, and they've had some rancidity issues. And you can tell instantly when you have a rancidity issue when you walk into a shop. It hits you like a ton of bricks. Now, I don't know what the circumstances are or whatnot. It's just anecdotal. You know, I know a lot of people that use QualiChem and they love it. So it's really a personal preference, I think. So, yeah, I had a chuckle with John Grimsmo. He posted the video of the foam coming up out of his coolant sump because I think he used distilled water that didn't have any minerals in it, and it was too soft and it would just foam up on him really, really bad. So yeah, that was funny. I just use standard city water. You know, I can't use city water, I don't want to use it. Yeah, Hoten's also good. Yeah, they make really good coolants too. Well, that's good, Clinton. Yeah, Hocut. Hoten makes Hocut. Yeah, you shouldn't have to use treated water. It so that's also why I like Blazer so much. The little tiny bit of odor that it has, it kind of smells like almonds. So it's not offensive, and it doesn't saturate your clothes. You know, you can't tell the difference between the t-shirts I wear when I'm machining versus the t-shirts I wear around the house. So that's another reason why I really like Blazer. And I don't wear gloves when I machine, so I get coolant on my hands, and I go in and wash my hands, and my hands don't stink, and they're not cracking. And I know some of the synthetic coolants, man, they can just be brutal on your hands. Oh, UV treatments, Stefan. See, so Blazer has a little bit different take on how to maintain coolant. They actually promote bacterial growth in their coolant, but they promote good bacterial growth so that they take up all the room so the bad bacteria don't grow. So it's a completely different concept. With Blazer, you're not supposed to use any of the fungicides or bacterial sides or anything like that. You just mix it and throw it in the tank and you're done. Hey Nick, run what you brung, right? Okay, there is nothing wrong about having a small manual mill or even a small desktop CNC. Everybody starts somewhere. I mean, you've seen the videos of my little tiny Atlas lathe. That's what I started with. So, you know, don't worry about a big boy machine. If you need a big boy machine, that's when you'll get a big boy machine. And they're not a big boy machine. It's just a bigger machine that has more capability. So when you outgrow your capability, that's when you can, step up. A link up for Blazer. What would you like a link of, Stefan? Yeah, Kenny. And that's the other thing about a Tormach. So you know, the Tormach Rapids at 100 inches a minute, I think, for the PNC 1100. You can crash a Tormach all day long, and it just doesn't move fast enough, and it doesn't have enough spindle horsepower to really damage itself. You might knock it out of alignment a little bit, but it's easily brought back into alignment. And John teaches those CNC classes, and I've heard that the students in those classes have crashed those machines before. And the PNC 1100, I went through an XY machine alignment, and other than being out of level, which is an easy thing to rectify, the machine was amazingly close. I mean, X was straight within 4/10, and the machine was almost perfectly square. I couldn't believe how square the machine was. I couldn't measure it out of square. And then the Gibbs needed a little tiny bit of adjustment. There was about 5/10 of drop off when the table was run all the way. So, Tormachs are great to learn on. They're very, very forgiving. If you crash my Fidel, you might end up in a world of hurt. And the part price differences are insane, are significant. My parts cost twice as much as the parts for the Tormach, if not a lot more. So. WD-40's okay. I would suggest getting some real cutting fluids and other lubricants. There's a lot better stuff. You are exactly correct, Kenny. Big machines, big crashes. Big dollars. Yeah. My spindle cartridges are $3,500 a piece. Oh, really? Now we're getting echo? No. Hold on. Did it go away? Okay. Let me look up that link for you, Stefan. No. My son and wife go to bed earlier. That's how I get some free time at night. So there's a link to Blazer's site. Basically, Blazer Swiss Lube is a mineral oil based coolant. It's a natural oil. Mineral oil is the same thing that baby oil is. So you rub mineral oil on your baby. There you go. And then what they do is they'll put the emulsifiers in there so that the mineral oil will dissolve in the water, and then they also put chlorinated waxes in it, and that's what really gives you good surface finishes. Yeah, the last 2 weeks were a little hard on the family just because I was out in the shop so much. I try not to do that, but it was good because I was able to get enough funds to buy my probe. So that's going to be cool. Can't wait to get those videos going. Cast iron or cast aluminum, Greg? Please don't say cast iron. My Fidel is a 1994 VMC 15. So it's the last year of the DC drive. So I still have DC drives in my machine. 1995 and later, you should have AC drives in it. So it's a bit of an old machine, but gets the job done. Yeah, 4020s are nice machines. You just got to watch the box ways. They tend to wear, and if you don't address it right away and it wears through the turkite, then you got to have them scraped or ground. So, but good heavy machine, you can really do some hogging on a 4020. That's the size that John's Haas is. So John's Haas is a 4020 table, 40 inches by 20 inches travel. So. And the stack of orange vices he has is quite pretty. Had Windows 95 on it. I don't know. So Fidel uses their own controllers. There's a HS88 line. and it runs their own proprietary software. The 3016 is a nice machine. I think that's what Rob got. I think Rob got a 3016. Yeah, I haven't had any problems with my controller at all. None. You know, and I've profiled at 100 inches a minute. You know, I finish at 30 inches a minute, but I rough at 100 and haven't had any problems. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I did something similar, but rather than a PC, I used an embedded processor, and you can actually access it directly from the machine console. So, um, the VMC has a rapid rate of 400 inches per minute. So when we did the ball bar on it, all the ball bar tests and the ball bar report you saw were at 40 inches a minute. So even finishing at 40 inches a minute, the machine was still holding 9/10 total positional accuracy in XY. So can't bash that. When we slowed the rate down to 20 inches per minute, so you get less following error in the servo control, we were good within, I think, 6 or 7/10. So yeah, not bad. Yeah, I'm trying to get my rates up. I think my max feed rate is like 150 inches a minute. Um, but what was limiting my feed rates was my spindle RPM. So my spindle motor was really bad. Um, I just did a job where I ran the spindle at 7,500 RPM, which is the max for that machine, and it ran beautifully. So the spindle motor is really good now. Yeah, when you're running a full vertical machining center and it rapids at 400 inches a minute, and that's slow in the machining world of things, yeah, you can get into trouble really quick. So my typical depth of cut is as deep as I need to go. So I will use the full flute of my end mill. Um, a lot of manual machinists tend to not cut deep, but I go really deep depth of cut, and I'll take whatever step over I need to not chatter. So yeah, 300-400 inches a minute is nothing these days. The new Mazaks, they're up well over 1,200, 2,000. Some machines are even hitting 2,400 inches a minute rapids. I mean, scary fast. Yeah, when you're rapiding at 2,000 inches a minute or 1,200 inches a minute, the e-stop button doesn't do nothing. By the time you realize it's going to crash, it's already gone boom. So like, I was roughing out a part with a 3/4 inch mill, and I was doing 1.5 inch depth of cut with a 50,000 step over at 50 inches a minute. So it's moving some material. And that was only with a high-speed steel cutter. If you bump up the carbide, you can pretty much double it, so then you can get up to 100 inches a minute roughing. Yeah, it was really neat. John's video that he just did last week on the experimentation on the new 770 Tormach that he just got, which is the mid grade, the middle size machine that they make. Um, it was funny to hear him mention and go over the cutter engagement, because if you remember, about a couple of months ago I did videos on in-depth end mill geometry and kind of some of the cutting strategies, and that's pretty much exactly what I went over about. Don't take too light of a cut because you might chatter, and you'll find that you could take a heavier cut and not chatter, and it'll be like, well, why is that? It's all about the cutter engagement. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't have a lot of big carbide tools just because of price. I've got a lot of high-speed steel hand-me-downs, and they work just fine. Thank you, Kenny. Those videos were probably the hardest to make. I had a lot of reserves, a lot of reservations doing those videos. Um, just trying to get them right because there's a lot of very sharp people out there that double check your work. Um, and there were a couple of questions on them, but nothing, no haters. So it turned out good, and I got a lot of good feedback from people that are in the tooling industry. So that was really cool. So yeah, and you know, I am always interested in tooling. Tooling is probably one of the largest costs of me making parts right now. So if you're willing to share, I'm willing to accept. You are Kenny. Your statement is exactly correct, and it's not just with chatter and tooling. It's with a lot of subjects in the machine tool industry. You hear a lot about issues, but very few people sit down and just go through it step by step in the nitty gritty of why. And I don't know why that is, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I have the fortunate circumstance of having a lot of friends that are masters in the machine tool industry, in my opinion. They're some of the best guys that I know. And they are very willing to sit down and have lunch with me a lot. And we have very good conversations, and that's how I've learned. And I want to share that knowledge with everybody else. Nick, could you live from the work on the Fidel only? Right now, no. But I'm not trying to. So I am not a full-time machinist. I'm not a full-time machine shop. My primary reason I bought the Fidel was to make my own parts. I started I started the company and I started this YouTube channel to help other people make parts, hopefully at a lesser cost. I don't know how well I'm doing at the lesser cost part of it, just because you start making your own parts and now you realize why machine shops charge what they charge. Um, but I haven't tried to make a living at it. Job shop is a very tough business. It's very cutthroat. It's a very saturated market. There's a lot of machine shops out there. So in order to make a living at it, you need to do something that nobody else is doing, or you need to do it better than everybody else is doing it. So that's where, trying to make a living at it comes. Do I believe you can? Yes, I believe you can. The jobs are out there. You just have to win them and, beat feet. And the bigger part of the problem is I know shops will go after a very large lucrative contract, and that's all they'll do. And then that contract will either complete or something may happen where it gets canceled, and that's where you see a lot of shops get into trouble. So yes, I mean, John Saunders is a perfect example. He does a mix of both. He makes his own products and he does job shop work, and he's making a very good run at it. I love YG tooling. I absolutely love YG tooling. If I order brand new tooling, I buy YG tooling, both with their roughers, both with their aluma power end mills, their carbide end mills, their variable fluid end mills. I love YG tooling. It has worked the best out of all the tooling I've tried. Talk to ABOM79. His K&T mill is a Cat 50. I actually took a couple of Cat 50 holders with me to John's Open House so I could give them to Adam. Really, YG makes SGS now? I didn't know that. So YG I like for your larger cutters and everyday cutters, and then for micro cutters and stuff, I tend to use either Harvey tooling or micro cut. Yeah, for drills, unless I need a carbide drill, for drills I've been using Cleveland drills. They are very low cost. They hold tolerance very well, and my supplier readily carries them. So face mills, again, I got some hand-me-down face mills. The face mill that my 3-inch face mill that I use the most is a Japanese brand. I can't think of the name offhand. I'm happy with it. It does pretty good. Then the other face mill I'm using, oh shoot, I'm not using Sandvik. Who's the other one? It's Carbaloy. Who makes Carbaloy? Yeah, drills are good. OSG makes good tooling too. I have some or OGS. I have some OGS tooling. Yes, Seco. So I'm using Seco for my other face mills. So the 1.5-inch face mill and the 2-inch face mill are Secos, and then the 3-inch face mill I got a hand me down, and it's a Japanese brand. I forgot what the name of it is. So I'd like to get some different cutter geometries, some different insert geometries for my face mills. Right now, almost all my inserts are meant for aluminum, and I probably got some steel jobs coming up that I'd like to get some steel inserts for those face mills. It might be Curcio. It might be Greg. That does sound familiar. No, it's not Sumito. I'm not sure if Seco bought Niagara. That's a good question. Yeah, lathe inserts are a lot easier than milling inserts. Unfortunately, and I don't know why this is, but the milling inserts, a lot of the different companies that make face mills, the pocket geometry for the face mills are completely different. So, it's not like buying a standard insert for a lathe tool. Yeah, Sandvik is huge. Hey, Pete, good to see you. So Pete went to NYC CNC Open House too. So we got to meet Pete and sit down, and we had lunch together. It was good. It was nice to meet you, Pete. It was awesome. Making chips, huh? What are you turning or what are you milling tonight, Pete? Fly cutters are nice. So one of the downsides with multiple insert face mills is either you have to spend a lot of time trying to match inserts, or you have to put a wiper insert in, or you got to get a face mill that has adjustable depth inserts. But trying to get really, really good finishes with indexable face mills can be troublesome sometimes, but you can do it. But fly cutters, just because you only have one cutting edge, by their nature, they can get really good surface finishes. Ah, okay. Yeah, you gotta have a Cat 40 tooling vise to put your tooling in and out. You'll tear your hair out if you don't. I just like face mills because you can remove so much material so fast with them. I mean, they are so rigid. I was going to try some AB tooling. I was pretty impressed with John's shop tour of their shop, and I have some requirements to get some custom form tooling made, and I was going to ask them to quote it for me. Fly cutters by far are better for smaller machines, Nick, by far, because you only have one cutting surface engaged, and you can take light cuts, so it's not going to bog your machine down. Face mills, you typically need a lot more torque to run them. Yeah, Iskar makes good stuff too, Josh. You are correct. There's just so much good stuff out there. It's kind of hard to bash anything, you know. Yeah, collet holders aren't as rigid. I'd love to get a shrink fit system, but man, it's expensive. Yeah, Harvey will make custom tooling, but this is large. I don't know if Harvey makes custom tooling as large as I need to go. So I need a 3-inch diameter convexing radius tool. Convex or concave? Concave, sorry. Yeah, if only funds were unlimited, right, Josh? There would be so many outfitted machine shops, it wouldn't be funny. I'd love to have a brand new Mazak in the shop, but, you know, the Fidel does fine. Yeah, I would get into trouble if I ran the checking account. I will admit I do not run the checking account. Yeah, my biggest shank tool is 1 inch. So, and I actually just got a bunch of 1 inch tool holders, which are really nice because I only had one. Excel, I did a custom embedded processor to communicate with my Fidel. It acts similar to the CalMotion device, um, but it's a little bit more advanced. And yes, it is RS-232. But what I did is I actually put the embedded device inside the machine, so the RS-232 cable is only about a foot long. So, I don't have any risk of noise or ground issues or anything like that. And then that embedded device has an Ethernet connection, and then it can access my network attached storage. So when I do my Fusion files, I work off of the NAS. So all my G code goes right to the NAS. I walk out to the machine. I type in the file that I want to run. The embedded system will pull that file off of the NAS locally, and then it will DNC it into the machine. I only have 44K in memory, so almost everything gets DNC'd. The Cal Motions are wonderful. I mean, they are just awesome. I mean, it's a good device. It's easy to use right from the machine. There you go. Turnkey. Randy's getting a workout. Scraping is good for the forearms. I'd like to get into scraping, but I'm in so many things right now. I just don't have the time. I am completely 100% out of time. Yeah, with 44K memory, if you're doing cam code, nothing fits. I haven't heard of Planet CNC. Yeah, so I do have a video. I think it's called Interfacing CNC Machine with Network Attached Storage or something like that. But yeah, there's a video on my control setup I do. Yeah, scraping can kill the lower back. Yeah, if I'm doing like drilling and tapping, 44K will hold it. But if as soon as you start doing contouring, especially if it's not just all circular or square paths, the files explode. Most of my files are over 50K, and they go up to a couple of meg. Yeah, Randy, I think I looked at it last time. Hey, Diesel, did you find your robo drill yet? Yeah, you have a video, homemade CNC mill, Randy. Yeah, I looked at that last night, or not last night, but last time you were on the live stream. Yeah, nice work, nice work. Chris, what's his last name? Pietzo or something like that. He did a really nice homemade machine too. The reason why I bought the Fidel is I didn't want to make a machine. I wanted to make parts. So that's why I bought the Fidel. And then I ended up rebuilding a machine, but it wasn't as bad as building a machine from scratch. Yeah, the video you got up there now is from like eight months ago. You got boned? How'd you get boned? I am not on Instagram, Josh. That was one of the suggestions that a lot of the other YouTubers said to me, is that I should get on more of the social networking sites. Uh, I got barely enough time to do YouTube. I'm not really into the social networking thing, but I might, make some accounts just so that they're there. Hey, go big or go home, Diesel, right? No risk, no reward. So I think the main thing with robo drills is just make sure that the rigidity there to do milling is there, but you know as long as they fit your need and you can get support for them, I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, Randy, I really don't have time to do YouTube. I make the time to do YouTube. You got it, Kenny. This is as social as I get too. Don't be too sad, Diesel. You'll find a machine. Yeah, you're right, Greg. He like pulled all his videos down at one point. Did he put his videos back up? I don't know. I don't know what happened, or he kind of just decided to stop YouTube. Hey, Hybrid. Good morning. How are things in Finland? It's 11. It's 11 p.m. on the east coast of the states. Late night. Do you know why he stopped, Greg? Did you just run out of time? That was kind of one of the things that John Griswold was talking about. Is you know he is so focused and concentrated on making parts and making knives that YouTube and Instagram and the social media thing has taken definitely a back seat. Oh, he sold his robo drill. Okay, Stefan, thank you. Have a good day, and thanks for coming in on the stream. I'm gonna probably wrap it up myself too. Yeah, Kenny, I hear that. I'm a software engineer by trade. Um, I typically work with some pretty big hardware though. See, that's why I don't want to do Facebook. Hey Pete, did you get your bearings yet, or are they coming Monday? Oh, cool, awesome. Yeah, you won't. Hopefully, you won't see me getting involved in any drama. I'm not into drama. I just want to make educational videos and informational videos and have some fun. Is there a post processor for that hybrid? Nice, Diesel. If shoestrings has shoestrings, that'd be my budget. Nice. Hey, I can remember, ramen noodle nights. So, yeah, I hear you. How's the support for those bridge ports? Somebody actually asked me at John's Open House about a Bridgeport Interac. Thanks for stopping in, Randy. You too. Oh, okay, well, try the generic post for Fusion first, and see if it works. And then if you need some help with the post, let me know. As long as you got the manuals and just an example program, and I know how it needs to look, we can help you out with the post. Boy, I wish that was the case here. You can't get a Miller lathe under 5K here. Not in good condition. You can buy something that, you know, sloshes around, but not anything that you're going to make parts on. So, okay, guys. Well, I think I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. Thanks for stopping by, and I'm gonna make some videos on my trip to John's Open House, and then I got a really cool part video coming up, so I'm trying to get that one out maybe this week. And then also I'm still editing the motor video. I kind of have it on the back burner. I got to get that one out too. So. Oh, no problem, Kenny. If there's people that will listen, I'll share. I enjoy it. I have fun. Yeah, I need some sleep. I'm pretty beat. Again, Diesel, if you know what you need, just send me an email with an example file and which post you're using, and I can help you out. So. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, thanks again, and have a good evening. And I know I missed another video this week. It was just crazy trying to get over to John, so we'll get the video out shortly, and we'll keep going. So we're still working on the live stream. Probe's coming up. A lot of cool stuff. So thanks for coming to the live stream, and we'll see you in the next one. I'm going to try to maybe do this maybe every couple of Sunday nights. You know, this seems to work. So, okay. See ya.